So my name is Lionel Dueñas, and I'm a lead bartender at Plum Horse in Saratoga, California.
Let's go on some myths. Mixing different drinks gives you a high, gives you a headache, for example. You can't mix vodka and whiskey. Is that true?
It is true at certain point because the residual sugar content of different spirits, it might play a different factor when you are hungover. The more sugar that you intake, it dehydrates your brain in a different level, and that's where you start feeling worse on the hangover. So yeah, different sugar contents, it will mess with you a little bit.
Brown spirits are can give you a faster high than light spirits, like white spirits, let's say.
Oh, so yeah. Also, the sugar, it's a conductor for the alcohol to the blood torrent. So the sweeter the spirit it is, again, it will get faster to your system, and you will feel more intoxicated faster as well. So it can happen.
Draft beers are better than bottled beers.
That's more of a misconception and perception. But it's because draft beers, they have temperature control all the time, so they feel more fresh. And used in the old times, for example, when there was not a craft beer movement, and then, for example, the light pollution for the bottles, it will make the beer to evolve different, or actually decrease the quality, right? And transportation and stuff, when they were in motion, so all those things, they will affect the product. But right now, with the craft beer movement and the quality of production and the cans and everything, it's more of a perception and also misunderstanding, actually.
What about can and bottle? Do you think that it's again a myth that can is a cheaper quality and bottled beer is at least better than can?
Oh yeah, it's just a myth. The quality doesn't have to do anything with packaging. Oh, for sure. I mean, some inside cost of the company, but it's more how you want to present your brand right now than more of the quality of the beer.
Pre-batched cocktails, are again bad.
Oh no, that's not true. The thing is, for pre-batching, you have to be careful in two things. First of all, it's better to pre-batch the alcoholic components of the cocktail in a separate container, and then the perishables in another, like citrus and syrups, for example, right? So that way you can just mix in the moment with two touches, just alcohol and mixers, right? If you mix everything together, that might affect a little bit the quality of the cocktail. But in high volume bars right now, and even with craft cocktails where you need to have different liqueurs and mixers and bitters at the same time, not pre-batching is killing yourself, because you're going to have to, for a cocktail, you're going to have to use 3, 4, 5 different bottles, and that translates in service times. So you need to have a really good cocktail, but you need also to have a good service, and that it's with the time of making the cocktail. So pre-batching right now and for a few years, it's what everybody's doing, but just to separate those components so you actually don't affect the quality of the product, for sure.
Now, we don't have to be politically correct in this, so go through here. Men give more tips than women.
That's not true. Yeah, no.
All right. So it's equal, or women's more?
Women more. Oh yeah, women they get way more. Yes, always.
No. I'm saying about giving, not collecting.
Oh, giving. Oh, sorry. Oh, giving. Oh yeah. We do. Oh yeah, totally. We do. Yeah.
Got it. Not collecting for sure. I understand that. It's the giving. Little how-tos, right? If you don't have a beer opener, any hacks or any things that you've opened beer with, or any tips you have?
Well, I am from my country. We open beers with everything, right? So yeah, like with the strainer, for example, you can do it with the hard roast strainer, with the julep, like with anything. You can do it with an edge. So it's more about your background and how you're used to do things, but yeah, you can do it with anything.
For home cocktail tips, right? Let's say I'm throwing a party, and I want to just have 3 cocktails for my home, and I'm obviously not professional, what kind of 3 cocktails you would advise that would be really, impressive for the guest and that's easy for me to make as well?
There are a few things you can play with. One of the fastest and easiest one, I call it tea tonics. And it's just, you take your favorite gin, for example, and you buy a assorted box of tea. And you use the tea, tea. And so, there is a lot of flavor of teas, right? Like fruity teas or floral or whatever. So you use the tea bags and you put it inside the gin for at least 2 minutes, right? And then it flavors the gin with tea, so it's botanical, it's fresh. You have
I like that hack.
And then you just use tonic and you have a tea tonic, and it's just beautiful and simple, super easy.
Mineral water versus tap water in making ice, any difference there?
Yeah, of course. Mineral water is been filtered and has less residuals. You can say it's more pure. And your house water, even when it's treated, it's gonna have some residuals that it will affect the quality of ice, but it doesn't really translate much on the flavor. It's just the quality when it comes clear because it's pure, right? But it doesn't really matter.
Now we're going to have some fun here. I'm going to name the drinks and you tell me which glassware is suited for that and why. Whiskey, which glass would you serve and why?
Whiskey, a classic rock glass, elegance. It's more manly, and I feel like just classic presentation.
Gin and tonic, let's say gin.
For a few years, and because of Spain, and there was a boom of the Spanish gin and tonics, a wine glass, it just looks beautiful, and you have more room for ice, and then tonic and botanicals, so it's just nice and fun to play with.
Neat tequila, or tequila, let's say. What is a good way to consume tequila and the glass?
So now and for a few years already, there's super nice tequilas out there. Again, rocks glass, neat on the rocks, just to appreciate a really good tequila.
What about cocktails, right? It just depends on the cocktails. Like what's your go-to glass? If it's just one glass you had to serve all cocktails in, what glass that would be?
For presentation and just decoration, a champagne flute for sure.
How do you upsell cocktails? Someone's ordered gin and tonic, $7. Let's say your pure KPI as a business, is to generate more profit, let's say, and upsell. What is a good way, tips to upsell, and what do you do?
So, for example, in the case of a gin and tonic, it's really important for the people to be knowledgeable. Just knowing that different gins have different profiles, right? So you can educate your customer and you can tell them, hey, you like this gin because it's fresh, or you're looking something more botanical, floral, a little bit citrus or fruitiness. You can play with different gins. You can play with different tonics as well, because you can upsell just the tonic, right? Or it's just about also, people right now are super open to new experiences. So just that new experience, hey, you want to do something fun? I have the gin and tonic with botanicals, fresh botanicals inside. It's an amazing presentation. You will love it. And people that are really receptive to those things, just to try and engage and upsell the experience. If you cannot do it with the flavor and gin profile, just the experience. Hey, I have something super fun to do right now. Let's put fresh botanicals. You pick the botanicals, you know what, let's do it, blah, blah, blah. So those things, they're super open.
The most bizarre thing someone has told you at the bar, like if you remember.
I've been working in bars around the world. I even work for cruise lines. And there are some bizarre things for sure. Sometimes people within the context, they don't feel, they have some like fun questions. For example, when I was working on the cruise line, some people, they were asking like, you guys live on the ship? And we were sailing every day. So those questions, they don't make sense in the context, right? Like, no, there's a helicopter coming and picking us every day from the ship, and then in the morning they bring us back. And some people, they will actually call guest services complaining that the helicopter picking up the crew, it was making too much noise.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't sleep, which it was not true, because there was no helicopter. Yes, we live on the ship, we live on deck 0. So it's just like questions that you think, like, where are coming these questions from?
Very creative people. What are your 3 top picks for top selling cocktails in America? Which do you think will be the top 3 by, as a macro, not your bar, just throw your best selling 3.
I've seen that people, they are playing a lot with classics lately, and gin and fresh flavors. So Last Word, I've seen that it's playing a really good part of sales lately. So Last Word, and more people are in the business, they are falling in love with classics, so they are suggesting more those drinks. So Last Word, I think it's an important one. People are super engaged with mezcal lately, so I feel like cocktails with mezcal for sure they will keep just moving forward and growing more within the customers. So like a fresh mezcal cocktail for sure. And also people, they always love a classic sour, so whiskey sours always is something to have around, and people, they are super in love with the sours texture, egg white. It's just fun, and it's a, for sure it's a popular one.
Anything else, Dionel, you want to add, or anything you want to say, about anything about your personal, ambitions for 2023, or goals that you have, what are you trying to do and achieve?
Yeah, well, right now Tom Horse, the restaurant, is being a Michelin star rated for a few years in a row.
Oh, nice.
And something that we didn't know and actually happened last year at the gala is that they're giving Michelin star recognitions for bar programs now. And we are aiming for that now, because we know about the 50 best and all these things, right? But
True.
I never heard of a Michelin star for
even I
bar
did not.
program.
They started that. Okay.
I think they did, yeah. So the bar manager, he was like, yeah, we have to get that for sure. So we're gonna start working on those things, and
Nice.
it's just a fun project and a fun goal for sure, having that recognition for bar programs. And I guess more and more people around the world, for sure, they are at that level and would like to aim for that one. So I think it's exciting. It's just exciting.